Hey everyone, welcome to Two Tall Vlogs. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my tall story. I can honestly say that I was never always comfortable with being tall. In fact, I actually hated it growing up. Growing up, it was definitely difficult to be tall, especially for myself, because I never really did sports or did any of those tall things. I was just kind of like not really an outcast, but I just never really fit in anywhere. I would always stand out because I was always taller than everybody else. It's definitely hard standing out a lot when you're a teen or tween because, you know, puberty, you're changing. Everything's changing and, you know, you just want to kind of sometimes just blend in. But being a tall woman or tall girl at the time, it's really, really hard. And I'm sure all of you tall women could understand that. So you never really just kind of skim under the radar. You're always on show. I think the worst part of my tallness came about grade 6 and ended in about grade 9 or 10, I guess. That was the worst part. You know, I was tall and I was shy and I had no confidence, so that was a magnet for bullies and teasing. And you know, most of my high school up until at least grade 11 and 12 I wasn't really teased. I can't remember that I was anyways, but up until then all the time. It was definitely awkward. Elementary school, high school, having clothes that just never fit, arms being too short, shirts being too short, pants being too short, because I was fairly thin as a kid growing up, so for something not to fall off my hips or my butt, because I had none, it had to be quite small. But my legs were so long, so I would have like these horrible flood pants, and it was horrendous. Like, I hated it so much. I was lucky enough to take dance classes when I was in elementary school. My dad signed me up for tap dance, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved it so much. So most of my time, you know, was spent there. I was lucky enough to get like a studio scholarship at the first dance studio that I danced at, which allowed me to take any classes, which was excellent, and it opened my eyes to more than just the tap dance. I really felt at home in class, you know, and I was studying all of these different dance types or dance styles. And you know, when I moved dance studios, I was a little bit more confident in my dancing. So I did some auditions, master classes, all that stuff, and unfortunately had to come to the realization that I would just be too tall to become a dancer. This shattered my world. I lost all hope. I was really down about it. You know, being told that you can't do something merely on your height is definitely not a good feeling. So luckily enough, where I was at, they allowed me to start teaching dance. So I started when I was about 14 years old. I started with a March break dance camp, and ever since then I've been teaching. It's been 11 years now, and I've loved every minute of it. So, you know, being told that I wasn't able to dance myself because I was too tall really put a dampener on things, let me tell you. So I, you know, dabbled in the modeling thing a little bit, just locally. It wasn't that great. You know, because I couldn't really be in print because you have to be shorter than the guy. So if you ever were to do anything with others, you'd always have to be shorter than them, or, you know, like that. And I guess I was just never strong enough to become, you know, one of those like runway models, or be skinny enough, or whatever the reason was. Too tall, not skinny enough, and you know, I just wasn't prepared to be skin and bones either. So that was just another thing that, you know, was determined by my height, more or less, that I wasn't able to do. So there's a lot of things in my life that really hindered me because of my height. I was definitely turned down from a lot of things because of my height. So I definitely had a horrible relationship with my height. So you know, it was really, really tough growing up, accepting that. And especially when I was younger, standing out all the time was definitely not fun. But as I grew older, I've kind of come to terms with my height, because everybody around me, especially the males, you know, started to surpass me. in height, so that made me feel a little bit more comfortable, that I wasn't looking, you know, at everybody's heads. You know, there's some people that I actually had to tilt up to or was speaking to at eye level, which was definitely new for me. And that, you know, happened around grade 11, grade 12, so people were actually, more of my guy friends were passing me in height, which was definitely awesome. Now, I think the hardest thing about, you know, being tall is how people can be a little bit insensitive. Not intentional, I don't think. I think most people in the comments are, you know, they think they're not being insulting, but, you know, going into a grocery store or going into the coffee shop or wherever you go and a stranger says, "Oh wow, look at that tall girl," it gets old. It's not good. You know, you wouldn't really say that to anybody else, so even though they don't mean it in a negative way, maybe, I don't know, it's definitely not something nice to hear, especially when growing up, like when I was a kid, you know, when somebody would say that to me, I would be really hurt by it. Not so much now because, you know, it's like whatever. I've grown into myself. I've grown into accepting my height. But I just wish that people would, you know, take a minute to think about or be empathetic towards other people. So as humans, we definitely gravitate to everybody's outside appearance because that's the first thing we see. But I wouldn't necessarily go up to a short person either and say, "Oh wow, or you're so short," right? Just, I don't know. Now, if you're somebody who is definitely shorter, but just please let me know, because I don't actually know, because I've never been short. But, so I don't actually know if short people get this at all, or how they feel about it. But to be called out on your outside appearance sometimes, especially things that you can't really control, like your height or your feet, you know, "Oh wow, you've got big feet." It's like, yeah, I'm 6 feet tall. What do you expect? I'm not going to have size 7 feet, you know? Or, "Oh wow, your hands are so big," or "Your arms are so long." Like, I don't know. It's just, people don't intend that, but, you know, just for all you guys watching, just take a minute just to, you know, say, "Oh wow, she's so tall," sure, whatever, but in your head, because you never know. Some people do take it in a negative light, especially if they're being told that all the time. So yeah, so just be a little bit mindful about what you say to people based on their outside appearance in anything that they cannot control. So like I said earlier, I've definitely not loved being tall. But I'm definitely more confident in it and confident in myself now that I've gotten a little bit older. So I have definitely for a couple years now, or a few years, wear heels. I don't even care. You know, sometimes I'll wear heels. Sometimes I'll wear heels just so that I will stand out. You know, sometimes you just feel like you want to stand out, so I'll put on shoes. I'm going to be 6'3", 6'4", who cares? So I've definitely come to terms with my tallness. I know it's something that's just so minor, but had a huge impact on my life growing up. But I've definitely come to accept it, and, you know, there are definitely some bad days, but for the most part they're good. Embracing my tallness. But anyway, this is my short story without going into too much detail and blabbing your ears off. But anyway, if you have any of these same kind of situations, whether you're tall or not, I would love to hear about them in the comments below. And I'm actually interested to hear if any, you know, shorter people get to ask the same questions, but in the reverse order, obviously, because you're not tall. And just kind of, yeah, communicate in the comments box below, because I definitely love to read them. Anastasia, if you have not watched her tall story, I will link it around my face, so be sure to check that out as well. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day. Bye.